Hey, government! How are you doing today? I hope you guys enjoyed your Easter break as much as I did. I spent all day Saturday fishing, and it was great. Caught a few fish and had actually a chance to just relax. My new doctoral class hasn't started yet, so I didn't have to deal with any of that. And having the extra time for the break gave me a chance to really relax. And I went out to Smithville Lake, and it was really relaxing. Had a great conversation with the guy who was there, who's almost 70 years old, and just telling me some stuff about the history of Missouri. It was a really good experience. But it's time to get back to work, and I'm excited to continue on with you guys. So this week we're going to be assessing over the past several weeks, and it's going to be an interesting experience. So assessment week is what we're doing, and I'm just going to give us a very quick rundown of what it's going to look like. This lecture shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. So here's what it's going to look like for quarter 4 and being online. We're going to be looking at the last 3 weeks. Week 1, we talked about how a federalist government, meaning powers divided between federal and state governments, right? And how should a federalist government handle a pandemic? How the heck do you divide power, and who's responsible for what in that? Week 2, we talked about the First Amendment and Steven Anderson, that guy who likes to jump around and scream, and his extreme message and how he's covered by the First Amendment. And last week we talked about a specific case study. We talked about the Westboro Baptist Church and the Snyder versus Phelps case that actually made it to the Supreme Court in 2011, and how they were defended, or ultimately they were declared innocent and protected by the First Amendment, even though they caused severe emotional distress to Mr. Snyder. So we're going to take this week to give you guys a chance to just mull over these things and synthesize, analyze everything, and put it all together. So here's what testing is going to look like in this quarter. And yes, you'll probably notice I got a lot of this from another teacher that you all have. Me and her are very good friends, even though we're polar opposites, get along really well, and she gave me some good advice for how to word these things. And so you should be aware of how to do this already. But we're going to be using the technique of analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. And I think this is great. It's going to be a perfect way for you guys to put all these ideas together. So analysis is going to be the first part of the test. And I'm going to basically give you guys an article to read, and I want you to pick it apart and show that you understand what's actually happening there. And specifically what you guys are going to be talking about is there's an article on the Snyder versus Phelps case. I want you guys to talk about what really the First Amendment protects and what it doesn't protect. And so you're going to read that and be able to explain to me that you understand what's happening with the article and what happened with the Westboro Baptist Church, why they were exactly protected for what they did. The second part of the test is synthesis. My favorite thing to do for a synthesis test is I like to take 3 terms or 3 ideas or 3 something, and you have to take those 3 terms or ideas and show how they all relate to together. For example, if you were talking about the Civil War, you could say something like the Emancipation Proclamation, Abraham Lincoln, Great Britain. And the answer would be something like, well, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation as a political gesture against the South to show that they were attacking the heart of the Southern economy, and also in the process deterring Great Britain and other nations like France from aiding the Confederacy because they didn't want to be involved in a war with slavery. So that's how you can basically take ideas and synthesize them. How do they all fit together? And you're going to be doing that for this test too, with some stuff we've been talking about. And lastly, evaluation is where you make a judgment from a biblical worldview. There's plenty of room for your own opinions there, but also taking into consideration the biblical text. And I want to see basically how do you come to a conclusion on something, and how do you support that conclusion. Here's some advice I have. You guys I've already given tests to all my other classes. This is your first test. I've given out quite a few A's, but I've also given out a few F's and quite a few C's. And basically, if you don't watch the lectures or if you speed watch them, you're not going to do well. You won't. If you try to do some Google searching last minute, you're not going to do well, because I can tell. If you want to do well on this test, you need to watch every lecture, and you need to watch all the assigned videos. That's no exceptions. You have to do that. And write substantially. Do not shortchange me. And what I mean by that is, if you give me a sloppy paragraph of 2 or 3 simple sentences, don't expect a good grade. But if you give me a well thought out, well developed, substantial explanation, then you'll do well. And by substantial, I'm not giving you guys word counts or sentence counts. I'm not doing anything like that. But basically, I think a good rule of thumb is that if you have about a half a page response, then you're probably on the right track for answering something. And so yeah, make sure that you're really fleshing out your ideas. If you just say general things like, the Westboro Baptist Church violated the First Amendment, then that's not answering anything. Tell me why specifically, explain your answers. If you don't explain your answers, that's most of the points right there, as you'll see on the rubric. And then the third thing is this: don't plagiarize. This has happened twice in one class. And what I mean by plagiarism is it's not plagiarism per se. You're allowed to use the internet, you're allowed to do additional research, but honestly, you don't even need to. If you watch all the lectures, you have really no need to plagiarize. Sorry, if you watch all the lectures, you have no need even for the internet. But if you want to find some examples, or if you want to, maybe you're a little confused on a topic or a term, you can use the internet, that's fine, I don't mind. But don't copy and paste sections from websites. I'll know, it's very easy. And that's not proving you know anything. That's proving you know how to copy and paste stuff from Google. So don't plagiarize or you automatically get a 0 on that. So, and I've already given out one of those. So yeah, don't plagiarize. Write substantially. Watch all the lectures, videos. Don't talk to each other. I don't care if you guys talk to each other for the other assignments, but for tests, just treat it like you would. Be honest, show integrity. Don't call each other and discuss this thing. This is for you to prove to me that you personally understand the content. Okay. And that's what it's going to look like: analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. As far as this week, I'll complete this test by Friday. And I'm sorry I've been changing the times around. This is going to be permanent. I'm making everything do it Friday, 3 p.m. That was some advice from Mr. Pruitt. And we're going to stick with this for the rest of the year. So I'm not going to have 11:59 or 5 p.m. I'm sorry for the confusion. But if you watch this lecture, then you should know by this point that I'm not going to make things due any differently. It's going to be Friday at 3 p.m. when you're going to have things due. Some teachers will give you 1 or 2 days to do tests. But that's not how I do it, because my tests are kind of a fusion of assessment with research. So it's a fusion where you need more time than a day. So I'm not going to be doing the 1-day complete a test thing like maybe your science teachers or math teachers do. For me, it's going to be a research project / test. That's what we're doing. So you have all week. Turn it in by 3 p.m. Watch CNN 10 every day. We're starting Tuesday this week, so Tuesday through Friday, and leave a comment. There's no discussion boards, nothing else. This is all you need to do this week. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I'm praying for you guys, and I hope you do well. Reach out to me, email me, ask me if you have questions. I'm more than willing to help. Anybody who reaches out, I respect that, and it shows that you're engaged and that you're trying. If you wait until Friday at 1 p.m. and start emailing me questions, then usually people that do that don't do too well on my tests or my papers. I recommend you start early and you're proactive. Let me know if you have any questions, you guys, and I love you. I'll be praying for you. Have a great week.